Welcome, foolish mortals, to the Haunted Mansion. I am your host, the Ghost Chris. Kindly step all the way in, please, and make room for everyone. There's no turning back now. Ha 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 ha, ghost laughs. Hey, everybody. New episode. I'm Chris. Welcome to Big Kid. I'm very excited today. This episode sort of came together at the last minute last week. And before I even get into what we're going to talk about, I'm bringing in the guest, longtime friend, journalist, former journalist, just excellent writer and cool person, Danielle Turchiano.
Yes.
I said your name wrong. Danielle
Not
Turchiano.
really, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close enough.
I've known you long enough that by this point, I should know how to say your last name properly.
Yeah, but like, how often do you call your friends by their full names? It doesn't
Never.
really come up. I feel
Absolutely
like there are
never.
friends that I have that I've never used
Hey,
their
Danielle
last name.
Turchiano, want to grab lunch today? Like,
Right.
No, that's not how it works. So, Danielle, you came up with what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to let you throw it out there because I am very excited.
Well, I mean, you already set it up perfectly. And I think also saying I came up with it gives it more credit and makes it sound like
You
it's going to
invented
be... I invented it, and also makes it sound like it's going to be a very skillful, thought-provoking conversation that I've already prepared, which I did not do. I was like, we'll just talk about it.
I have no notes. I have nothing.
I wanted to come on the podcast, and I was like struggling for a little while to think about what I could bring to the podcast that you either hadn't already talked about or that I hadn't already written about a million times, because I was, a journalist for 15 years, and most of the stuff that I get the most excited about, I found a way to get paid to write about.
And it's weird when it becomes work.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a little bit of the fun out of it sometimes. So then I was like, I don't have anything new to say. I don't like it as much anymore. And then I thought about it and I was like, well, I really love Disney and you really love Disney. And something that I know we both really love is the Haunted Mansion ride. So I was like, maybe that's the perfect thing. And because we're right at Halloween, I was like, oh, my timing is impeccable, even though I don't like Halloween. So here we are.
Wow. Okay. So yes, we're going to talk about the Haunted Mansion. You don't like Halloween, Danielle?
Not really.
If I know one thing about you, it's your true love of chocolate.
Sure.
And
but that's not
Halloween is a chocolate holiday.
Yeah, but I'm an adult and I can buy chocolate any time of the year. And also, I think it started, and this is going to sound so bougie, but it started when I was a child. I didn't like dressing up. So that was part of it. I was like, I don't want to dress up to get a free candy bar. I can just ask my mom to buy me a candy bar. But also, they never handed out the candy that I liked. So I had to dress up, walk around the neighborhood, which I also do not like walking. And then you get a bag of candy and you're not really excited about the stuff that you get. I don't eat Hershey's. I don't eat Reese's. I don't eat not that I'll never eat it, but like that's not the stuff that I'm excited about. I like the fancy chocolates. I like the truffles and the Godiva and, these days, the stupid $20 bars that I can't remember the name of, but they're delicious.
Are you like a Cadbury Dairy Milk fan? I love a Dairy Milk bar.
They'll be milk chocolate. So that's the other thing is I only eat dark chocolate, and nobody gives little kids dark chocolate on Halloween.
That's true.
I mean, part of the reason I don't eat Hershey's or Reese's is because the default always used to be milk. Now they make dark chocolate versions of Reese's. I'll buy those occasionally. I don't love peanut butter, but whatever. Even now, I literally was looking around Target, Ralph's, CVS, like all local stores, looking for the Hershey's assortment of the dark chocolate stuff, the Mounds, the peppermint patties. Nobody had it. I used to be at least able to buy that. You didn't get the Halloween prices because they knew you weren't actually handing them out to children, but nobody even had it. I was like, I don't think they sell this anymore. So, I mean, I'm not like anti-Halloween. People who love it, great, dress up, have fun. I'm not here to spoil their fun, but I just don't love it. And I've also been at jobs where the corporations really wanted you to go all in on Halloween, and it was like not my thing. So it was just me awkwardly in the office trying to not be noticed on the day where everybody else was taking time away from their job to go get professional hair and makeup done for the party at the end of the day. And I was like, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah, I I don't enjoy corporate mandated holidays, but I love Halloween. Halloween is incredibly my shit. But that's fine because you don't need it because as we'll get into later, it's not like you can ride the Haunted Mansion as
Right.
it's intended to be on Halloween anyway.
Right. And I
So,
mean,
like,
I think that's maybe part of this is just the spooky stuff I like. Again, you can do it whenever you want. You're controlling your schedule.
I like that. Okay, so then what is your history? First of all, I don't know if I know where you grew up. Were you a California kid?
No, I grew up in New York.
Okay.
So I didn't go to Disneyland in Anaheim until I was about 14, maybe 16. I grew up with Walt Disney World. So that Haunted Mansion was the Haunted Mansion I always knew. And for whatever reason, I always thought like it was the better one because it looked spookier to me. And I know that's kind of the point.
No,
Is that
you're
they're
right.
supposed to look different.
Yeah. Also, I don't care how controversial this theme park take might be. Orlando Haunted Mansion is so much better than California. It has extra rooms. It has rooms that aren't in California's Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, but I
That's
mean,
cool.
I think that's just the size aspect of it. Like
Oh,
they
for
just had
sure.
more room to build. They could expand
yeah.
a little bit the story. I will be honest, the first time I wrote it, I didn't get the story. I didn't notice the story at all. I didn't know what was happening because I was little.
Same.
I was maybe 4. I don't know. I don't know if that's right, but it feels like it's right.
My mom tried to convince me to write it on our first trip when I was 5 to Disneyland. And I refused because it had the word haunted in the name.
Oh,
and I was scared to
no.
death of everything at that age.
Oh.
But I remember the first time I wrote it, I was probably closer to 10, 11, 12-ish.
Okay.
And I didn't get the story at all.
Right.
Because you're being taken in by like, oh, the doors are knocking themselves. Oh, there's spooky things down the hallway, like stuff like that.
Yeah, there's just so much to look at. And I think for when I was really small, I didn't listen. Maybe I wasn't 4. I might have been 6. I was definitely very young because we used to go pretty much every year when I was in elementary school. And I hate to say this, but it's like there was a little part of me when I was that young that took it for granted because it was like, well, you know, it's been a long day. I'm finally in air conditioning. Like if I miss something, we'll be back. You know what I mean? Like I'll see it again. We would be there for a few days. We could come back tomorrow. And so for whatever reason, I would fixate on like certain parts of the ride and I would be looking for those parts, like my favorite pieces. And so I would just miss chunks. Like I loved obviously the dinner scene, but I was always staring at the cake. I always wanted to see the ghost that blew out the candles on the cake. So I was constantly missing all of the rotating dancing ghosts and stuff like that. Like I knew they were there and like you could kind of glimpse them out of the corner of your eye while you're staring at the cake. But I was staring at the cake the whole time. So I'll be honest, when I was really little, I didn't notice the paintings in that room that would change because of that. And then it took a minute, I think, before I noticed the other paintings where the guys would lose their heads, where the bride was killing all of the husbands. I didn't notice those right away. And once I noticed them, I was like, oh, this ride is much more interesting than I realized it was. You know, there's an actual story here. There's like a narrative arc, just like there is with every other ride. But I knew all the other rides' stories already because I had seen those movies. So like I went into them with like a certain knowledge and understanding. So even if there was a piece missing or I missed a piece, my brain filled it in because I already knew what was supposed to happen. But with this one, it was like, well, I don't know what this is supposed to be. I'm just enjoying the ghosts and the singing and the weird guy in your ear and the doom buggy. And I would always go on out with my mom who didn't really like spooky stuff. So that was always like, she went with me because I was too little. I think she wouldn't have let me go by myself, but so she would go with me and tolerate it. But like literally every time we would go to Disney World, I was like, that's the one ride we have to do first. And still to this day, that's usually the one ride I want to do first. But then we would go multiple times because I was just like, I want to see, and I want to pay attention in the queue. Like I want to see all the grave markers and what they say. And it just was something that I did just so many times for so long in Florida. And then finally got to see in Los Angeles as a teenager. And maybe it was because I was already a teenager. Like it wasn't as exciting anymore. I was like, now I know the story.
Yeah.
Now I'm comparing you to my earlier experience, and I still love the ride. Now that I live in Los Angeles, that's the only version I've seen for the last, couple of decades. But it's not. I would like to go back to Florida and see like all the renovations they've made and like see how it compares now as an adult.
I will say I love that they continue to update this ride on both coasts. It's a pardon me. They still add things to the line queue. They still add more detail into the ride itself. Like the fact that this is a ride that we're decades and decades into, and they still find ways to tweak it just a little bit. For instance, Florida is getting the Hatbox Ghost this year.
Okay.
Florida doesn't have the Hatbox Ghost.
I didn't realize that. I thought they had it a long time ago.
No, just in California. They never brought it here, and evidently it might be in a different part of the house than it is.
Ooh, that's cool.
In Disneyland. So like I'm excited to see that. But there's also other countries have their takes on haunted mansions at those Disney parks, and some of those, like I know I really want to do Phantom Manor, which I believe is the name of the one in Paris, and they completely. Yes, the one in California and the one in Florida have the same story, but I feel like the international parks, they really get to go nuts with kind of building out the story further and further and further. And so depending on where you are in the world, you're getting a completely different experience of this iconic ride that at the end of the day, like it's still the same ride, I guess. For those of you listening, I was finger quoting that, not because they're definitely not the same, but like they use so many of the same elements that it's fun to look at them, putting them into different, implementing them in different ways. Right? Like the when I speak of the extra room at the one in Florida, it's like the first or second room you see, and it's this beautiful MC Escher inspired library with just stairs going everywhere, upside down, diagonal across the seat, like. It's this beautiful, weird little room that they built inside of this ride. And then they're like, now here's the rest of the Haunted Mansion. Have fun. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I think it needs that. I think you need the different details for the people that are going to travel to the different parks, first of all. But I also think that, I would expect with a company that is this dedicated to detail and it's going to sound a little weird, but to change in some respects. Like there are other pieces of change that it's taken too long to get to, but in certain areas, and I think the theme park rides are one of them, they are good about making sure we're going to refurbish stuff. And when we're refurbishing stuff, we're going to look at this. We're going to look at like, well, how can we make this better? Because it's already been this way for so long. Is it just a coat of paint? Is it just updated animatronics? No, usually it's something with story. It's something with detail, the technology. I will say that the last time I went on the one in LA or Anaheim rather, and maybe this was also because I finally started wearing my glasses in the rides, but like the technology, the detail was so crisp, especially when you mentioned the Hatbox Ghost.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed with what they were able to do because you're coming around it. So like the way you have to light something like that in order for you to be able to see it clearly from almost a 180-degree angle, that was really impressive to me. And it's the same thing when you're in the graveyard. I believe, and maybe I'm wrong, but I believe they've updated the projections on the stones to better technology fairly recently. Probably. Because again, it could have been that I finally started wearing my glasses, but I was just so impressed with like the faces and like how detailed the movement is. How sharp
like the singing busts.
Yeah, the singing on the stones. Yeah, because I when I was younger, granted, it was a million years ago. The technology wasn't as what it is now, but I feel like when I was younger, you could easily miss it. You could easily miss that that's a face singing because it was dark in there and it was maybe a little blurry and you're moving and you're like also your buggy is moving but you're physically moving because you're like turning your head to see what did I miss on this side, and now you're not right in front of it, so the angle you're looking at it at is not its best, and so it might not look like much. But I think they've really thought that through, and I don't know what it looks like overseas, but I imagine the same thing overseas, especially as they're doing different things to the story and the rooms. Like these things must be amazing. I'm not the person that is going to be traveling to all the different Disneys, but I'm the person that will go on YouTube and be like, hey, did somebody film the ride? Like, you're not supposed to, but I want to see what the ride looks like over there. So let me see if somebody filmed the ride.
Well, and that's sort of one of the cool things that I love is that, like, honestly, it just goes back to Walt, for better or worse, an American icon. He, according to him, Disneyland is never done. It's constantly being upgraded. It's constantly being refreshed. And there have been times in the company's history when that didn't feel like it was a priority. I know when I was a kid, there were times when it felt like rides were just in flat out disrepair at Disneyland. That doesn't happen anymore. I feel like they're real good at updating paint, updating projections, updating. And it's especially important in Haunted Mansion because you brought up the Dune Buggy. The Dune Buggy, for my money, I would put it like maybe the coolest ride vehicle ever. It's oddly comfortable for something with a curved back. But it also points you exactly at what it wants you to be looking at. And it would be really easy to just keep that stuff updated.
Yes.
But we're nerds. Like, I look everywhere. I'm constantly
you should be able to. Yeah. That's the whole thing.
And you can, and it all looks great.
Yeah. Especially, I think in more recent years where they've built rides where the point is that you're supposed to be moving. Like, I think about like Astro Gliders, like you're supposed to look, or Astro Blasters, sorry, the Buzz Lightyear one. You're supposed to look everywhere for those things to shoot. And so, like, if you've just come off that ride, your brain is trained to look for stuff. So, like, you get on Haunted Mansion, and you're supposed to look here, but you're not going to. So, I mean, the fact that like that is, I don't know if that's a newer concept or if back in 20, 30 years ago, people were already like twisting in their seats trying to see stuff differently. I don't remember exactly how I did it, but I feel like it's just human nature. Like, you want to see what else is around the corner. You want to, especially on a scary ride, like you want to be kind of prepared. I do feel like my mom used to kind of like do this to kind of see what was coming so that she would, I think she was worried I was going to get scared. So she'd try to like, oh, it's not going to be so bad. I see what's coming ahead. She'll be fine. If I have to cover her eyes, I'll cover her eyes, whatever. But to be able to do this and to see clearly what's coming is very important. I don't know. I mean, I love the ride. I feel like more rides, even in Disneyland, which is made for children, theoretically, need to be dark and a little spooky.
Absolutely agree. Well, and there's one specific moment in Haunted Mansion that like sticks with me because it's that moment where you see what's coming, and it's when you're pulling up to the Hatbox Ghost. It's after the Constance Hatchaway or whatever room. You're pulling up the Hatbox Ghost, and if you look past the Hatbox Ghost, you see the entire living cemetery, and you're like, if you don't know what the Haunted Mansion is, you see that and you're like, I need to know what's going on in here, and I need to be a part of it.
Yeah.
It's such a cool moment. I will also say, I feel like they're usually pretty good at making sure that if you look around, you're going to see the details. You're not a roller coaster person, correct?
No, very, very much not.
I did the media day for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. And it is a roller coaster that is basically what if we mounted a Doom buggy on a roller coaster track. So you're going, it doesn't have loops or anything because it's an indoor coaster, but you're constantly turning, and it's turning to show you giant screens that are playing Guardians of the Galaxy stuff on them. Like they filmed a bunch of stuff. It's like a mission you're on. However, you can't do the look around thing because literally once you get to the end of the screen, you're just in a dark room.
Oh.
And you can see the wall. It's like people love the coaster. I rode it one time. I was sick for 3.5 hours afterward.
That's why I don't go on them too. I'm old and I have vertigo.
I I was there as just, a true journalist. And I was like, well, I got to know what this is like. So when I talked to them about it, I could tell them how much I hated it. And I didn't hate it. It's a really cool ride. It's just not my thing. But
Right.
what I noticed is when you're the times when I wasn't hiding my eyes and saying, I'm ready for it to be over. I'm ready for it to be over. I would notice as you're looking at these screens, you're just seeing the building on either side of the screen. So you're not in space. Like, I get it, but also like learn from yourself. Put something in there. Just put something. It doesn't have to be an in-universe thing. Just put like space garbage on both sides of it and like done.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that was my issue with Soarin' over California too, because I was just like, I can see the screen. Okay. I mean, I enjoy it still, but like, I think it goes back to like, you have to just sit in the seat and face forward the way the ride was built and intended. You can't be curious at all, which feels counterintuitive to a company that has Imagineering. Like, I don't know. Especially they want you to go look for hidden Mickeys all over the park, but just sit in the seat and stare forward and don't do anything else. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So
I do.
Not every ride is going to be
Soarin',
perfect.
though.
I
love Soarin'.
I don't love it. I also get annoyed. I know this is a different podcast, but I also honestly get annoyed the transitions between the images are not smooth. And I'm just like, there's no, like it felt to me like it used to be smoother. Like you'd be zooming down as a bird or something, and then you'd be like zooming back up to follow a kite or whatever. And I don't feel like it's that way anymore.
Absolutely. Because Soarin' over California, as far as I'm concerned, is a perfect piece of film that it's putting you in. When they switch to Soarin' over the world,
that's what. Okay, I forgot it's a different one.
It feels so much cheaper. Like they're like, no, like now one of the transitions is like we're in the desert, but like a wave comes through and now we're at the ocean. I'm like, no, guys, come on. Like at least make it remotely believable. Like I believe Soarin' over California had like the hang glider, and then like it kind of the transition is when their glider comes up and the sail blocks the frame. That's amazing. Like that's the kind of stuff I want.
Yeah.
Okay. So back to Haunted Mansion. Do you have a favorite room? Is it the dinner party?
I mean, probably. I think just nostalgically, it's the dinner party because when I was a kid, I was just so taken with it. I think, I mean, as I've gotten older, I have appreciated the graveyard more, I think, because they've updated all the graphics. And I would say the same thing for the attic with all the pictures of the men whose heads keep getting chopped off. I think that screams Danielle, if you know me. But I think that we move through it so fast that it's like it can't be my favorite. I think they need to slow that part down a little because it's still so easy to miss so many details in that room because you're moving through it so fast.
I would also say the one down part of that room is the mannequin wearing the dress where her face shows up, and it looks. Considering how good the animation on Hatbox is exactly after, like literally right after that, having this sort of poor version of it kind of it's a bit deflating.
Yeah, I think they should update that part, but we'll see what happens. Although I will say my very favorite part now is just the end when you get the hitchhiking ghost, because for the last, I can't even tell you how many times I get the same ghost. I've gone on it with different friends and it's always the little fat one. And I don't remember his name. It's like Phineas or something. And so my friends have started like buying me the stuff of him, like a pin of just him or like the Funko of just him.
And you're like,
every
no
time. I don't mind it, but also it's just weird. It's like every time that's the one I get. And I feel like that's weird. And I don't really believe in a lot of that spooky stuff, but I feel like that is very weird. And I do, if anything, I'm sure it's like facial recognition. They're like, oh, we know her. Give her the fat one. We're watching you. We have eyes everywhere.
Phineas's BFF is here. Hit the button.
Yeah.
Well, I
did it. So I went on the ride twice in a row and just to see what would happen. And I got him both times.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Just to see what would happen.
That's a little weird. Okay, so then you haven't been on the one in Florida since they updated that part.
Oh no, the last time I was on that one, I was probably 12, so that was like 1996.
Okay,
So,
Danielle,
I know.
I have to tell you what goes on in this room. So it's basically, it looks exactly like the old one. The ghost appears in your thing, but then the ghost pops your head off in the mirror. And it becomes a balloon, or they bounce it around like a ball.
So good.
Like they literally use your face. It pops your head off, and then you don't have a head. It's amazing.
That's awesome. We need that in Anaheim.
Yeah, oh my god! The
that
first time I wrote it, I got
spooky,
that
though, for children. That's maybe a little step too far.
I will say it's done in a very, very cartoony way, and there's like a sound and stuff like that. Like they make it very silly and kind of over the top in a fun way. When I saw that for the first time, I was blown away, and I was like, why? Why is this not in California? This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. It makes you a part of the ride.
Right.
It does the thing. Have you done Secret Life of Pets at Universal Studios Hollywood?
I have. I also haven't been to Universal for a very long time.
That you're fine, but so it's like the one sort of traditional Disney style dark ride in the park, and you go through this whole thing where you get turned into a pet. So you get like zapped with something that turns you into a puppy. So you're a little puppy, and at the end of the thing, you go into like an adoption place where different families adopt the puppies, and like you come to a point where you're on screen as a puppy, and like you're moving around, the puppy's paws are moving, and then you get adopted by a family, and it's like give me that kind of interactivity in all of these rides. Like, let me shoot a cannon in Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know what that would help.
I don't know how they would do that, but sure.
Look, they figured out how to not take Johnny Depp out somehow. They can figure this out.
Well, but those are all animatronics. That I mean, I think that's what's
hate him though.
That's what's so. Oh no, I'm not saying he should be there. I'm just saying that like that's what I find interesting about these older rides that are at least 70% animatronic. Like they are doing a lot to update the technology of those and also of the projections. But I do think they're limited with like where the ride is built and what is running under the ride to keep it running. Like I don't know how you put in some of that newer tech to like put you. I don't even know what that entails in Florida.
I would know it. Well, and that's the thing.
Crazy.
Like Pirates has like no space, because the old rumor of that ride is that it goes like once you go down the drop, that's out under a parking lot, or what used to be a parking lot. But
also that ride I think that ride has too much dead space. I think you could like take sections of that ride and like completely redo it. Like we linger, and maybe this is different in Florida because I haven't been on it in Florida in whatever 2023 minus 1996 is, but there's that section where you're in the ocean or whatever, and there's the warring ships, and they're just firing cannons at each other. And
and you're there for a long time.
I would say like it looks cooler now. They've figured out ways to make the cannon fire look better and the smoke, but you are just. I always used to think they turned the motor off and just were letting us float. I was like, why are we still here? And like, I like water rides, but I don't like.
I think it's because, well, first of all, like the pirate. We'll get back to Haunted Mansion, I promise. The pirate boats aren't motorized at all. They're like basically the ride is shooting the water, and that's what's carrying the boats along.
Oh,
and I think what happens, and I could be very wrong.
Logically, that makes
sense. That room opens up into a giant pool.
Yes, and so
you're still on
floating.
Yeah, well, because you're still on a track, because there are barriers that you can't go outside of, but like. I think they just lose the thread of being able to fire water through there.
And that's what I find weird, because it's like, well, you have these warring ships. Wouldn't they be making waves? Like use the current, like use the wave, push me forward. Like I want to see the dog. We're
watching cannonballs hit the water.
Yeah. So like, I don't know the mechanics of any of this. I am telling you them how to fix something that I could never do in a million years, but that's historically what my career has been. I'm just going to tell you what you're doing wrong and hope you can fix it. We'll see what happens.
If it works, it works.
Yeah.
Okay. It's time for the controversial section of the podcast. If anybody hates me after this, I apologize. Let's talk about the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay of the Haunted Mansion. I hate it.
Okay.
I say I hate it. I
Well,
feel
you
like
just
that
started strong. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
I
My dog
know.
is in the background.
No, that's okay. Oh my God, what if he goes to the castle?
Oh, he will. He leaves it alone.
Oh, okay.
But he
That would
did
be
bring it.
amazing if
He
he
did bring his
did
ball.
King Kong. Oh, he sure did. Oh no,
Yeah,
it's getting closer to
it's
you.
fine. It's fine.
Yes, this is a good reason to watch the video version of the podcast over at youtube.com/bigkidpod is because you get to see a dog in the background. That's Archie, and you can see it
He's
right here
not
on the
well
screen.
trained, apparently. You know what? To be honest with
Follow
you,
him at the real Mr. Archie.
oh, thank you. Yes, he's on Instagram. To be honest with you, he does. I do have so for those of you who can't see, I have the Lego Disney castle in the background of this video on my dining room table.
So big and pretty.
It is the old one, but he does sometimes jump up on the table and sit next to it. But he's really good about leaving it alone because I did teach him to retrieve Legos. Like when I build Lego sets, if I drop it, I was like, you get it. Don't swallow it, but get it. So he's good about once it's all built together, just like, don't touch it because I will scream if it shatters because I don't know how to put it back together. Anyway, if there was a giant version or a regular size version of the Haunted Mansion, that would be behind me. But Lego still has only made the mini version, and that really bums me out. So,
have you built it though?
Yeah, but it's so small. Like it's literally in a box in my closet in case I ever go back to an office.
See, I only like you can see, and again, on video, you can see behind me the stupid number of toys I have. I do not have room for a full-size Lego Haunted Mansion.
Who does?
I wish I did. I absolutely wish I did. I don't think I would want the full-size castle because I don't really care about the castle that much. I care about pirates, and I care like if I could build the Pirates of the Caribbean track somehow.
I mean, you could build the boat. I don't really know
It
how you would.
It won't be an official. It would not be an official build, but
sure.
like there are people out there who have like done unofficial builds of it, and it looks friggin' cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, Nightmare Before Christmas. First of all, this came up on last week's episode, Spooky Movies. I've never seen The Nightmare Before Christmas. Ever.
So then how do you hate the ride if you don't know if you like the movie?
Because I hate that it's there from September till January. It's too long. I should be able to go to Disneyland on Halloween and ride the original spooky ass Haunted Mansion and not have to watch Tim Burton's idea of Christmas in the Haunted Mansion, which is, again, I feel like I've thrown a lot of shade over the years at Nightmare Before Christmas just for this one reason only. But it's probably not because they do bring in some really cool elements.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's a valid point. I mean, I think I would make the argument that even at Christmas, I want to go to the regular Haunted Mansion. I want to see what that dinner party looks like if there's a Christmas tree in it, not a weird skeleton man. I will say this. I don't hate the Haunted Mansion, or I'm sorry, I don't hate the Nightmare Before Christmas as a film. I don't really remember a lot of it because I saw it a million years ago. I don't love it as the ride because I'm not as attached to it as a story as I am to the regular Haunted Mansion or just like the idea of spooky stuff in general. So, and I think that's also part of it is like, even at Christmas, you've got, this is going to sound kind of weird, but you've got your focus at Christmas is a skeleton man. Skeleton Man to me reads Halloween. So I'm more upset at Christmas when I go in there and it's a Nightmare Before Christmas and I'm staring at something that is, in my opinion, a pillar of Halloween. And I do love the little dog.
I'll be honest with you. I had not thought about it from the point of it being like Christmas erasure in a weird way.
I mean, it's like, it's not really, because I mean, it is a Christmas story. And it just, to me, I'm just like, and maybe this is also why I didn't love the movie. I was just staring at the skeleton the whole time being like, you know, I mean, like even the Grinch to me is more Christmas. And maybe that goes back to the nostalgia factor of like, I grew up with the Grinch. I was older when The Nightmare Before Christmas came out. I don't know, but I love the original Haunted Mansion so much that I same thing that you just said. If I'm going, I actively don't go during Halloween time for this reason, but I always make it a point to go to Disneyland during Christmas because I like to see the special parade. I like to see whatever. And then I get annoyed when I go to the Haunted Mansion and it's not the regular Haunted Mansion. I'm like, I think they deserve their own ride, but I don't want you to take over my favorite ride. do something else.
Oh,
I don't know
hell
what that is. I don't think it's possible, but it just bums me out.
I mean, just do meet and greets. That'll be fine. Like man, yeah, there has to be I think I think there's a place for Nightmare Before Christmas to be found in the parks. I will also know Haunted Mansion Florida does not do Nightmare Before Christmas stuff at all. And the people of Florida hate that. They want it. And I'm like, you guys don't understand. You don't know how good you have it.
Yes.
We can ride the Haunted Mansion on Halloween. It's great.
Yes.
But it's very strange that it has become as identifiable with the Haunted Mansion as anything has with that ride.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a part of it for so long, but then man, they hit that right age group, and now all those people who's had that as a kid are all of age now. So they're the grown-ups bringing their kids to Disney. I'm like, no, this is our tradition. I'm like, cool. This is why Johnny Depp will be in Pirates until I'm dead.
Exactly. But I mean, I have friends that are our age that like that version better. And it's not because of the movie.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just because of what they've done to the ride, the decorations and everything. And I'm like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm missing that they're seeing, or like what they're connecting to that I'm not connecting to. Because I will say I do like the little dog, because I like little dogs. And I will say that the dog in regular Haunted Mansion bums me out because he's so skeletal. When he's just
same with the cats. Same with the cats in
graveyard.
Haunted Mansion. They all, or the cats in Pirates, they all look so emaciated and sad. But the dog, oh my god,
I don't even remember the cats in Pirates. But yeah, but like all the animals in general, like they're not having a good time.
That poor Haunted Mansion dog. I'm imagining his skeletal frame shivering next to the old man. I just want to hug them both and feed them.
I hate it, but at the same time, like I'm like, oh, but I like that you're there. You know what I mean? Like I still, it's part of this story and whatever. I don't know. I will say I know we're not really talking about the movies, but I was worried about if they were going to bring into the movie some sort of like dying animal, and I was not going to be happy about it.
Okay, so you've seen the new movie?
I have, yes.
Okay,
I went to a theater to see the new movie.
What? Wow.
First of all, I'm a big Haunted Mansion fan. Also, I'm a big Justin Simien fan. Also, I just wanted to see something in a theater that wasn't Barbie. Like I also saw Barbie, but I was like, I don't want to be the person that I haven't gone to a movie theater in a long time because I'm lazy and I like to watch everything on my couch. But I was like, but if I'm going to see Barbie,
there was also a whole pandemic thing.
Yeah, but people have been going to the movies the last 2 years. I mean, the only movies I've seen in theater since the pandemic started were the 2 Screams, Barbie, and the Haunted Mansion. And then a couple of things that I saw like at screenings, press screenings, but I don't really count those because it's a concentrated group of people I kind of already know because we're all professional journalists and we're seeing something at a specific time. We're not with the quote public. So that's my point. It's just like, I was like, if I'm going to go see Barbie, I also want to go see something else. But anyway, yes, I did see the movie. It was fine.
Okay, I have not seen it. Okay, that was my question because like, I feel like those of us who are older, we remember the first Haunted Mansion movie starring Eddie Murphy. It was terrible. It was terrible. And then, and this was at a weird stretch where Eddie Murphy was he was just seemingly exclusively making bad choices.
Yeah,
which happens.
I mean, if I remember that movie correctly, which I may not because it's been a while, my issue wasn't with Eddie Murphy's performance, even though I do think they took it too comedic. My issue was with the storyline of like the haunting and like I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy who built the house and like he lost his wife, so now he wants Eddie's wife to be his new wife, and like I was like, what is happening? This doesn't make sense.
It's called Haunted Mansion. That's it. That you just have to make a spooky house story. And granted, I haven't seen the new one. I did talk to Justin about it at Comic-Con this year.
Okay.
Which like that was just fun because it was just two like really dumb Disney nerds nerding out about a ride. Like, what a great time to be alive. I gotta believe this one at least follows closer with what we know from the Haunted Mansion. And from what I understand, like, and it sounds he made it sound as if he snuck in quite a few nods to a bunch of things that really excite me.
I mean, that's the thing. If you're paying attention, there's a lot of stuff in there that you'll recognize. I think also, the story for sure is much more in line with the story of the ride in the sense of like you would expect this kind of thing to happen. Also, obviously, like I don't want to give spoilers for people who haven't seen it, but like the Hatbox Ghost plays such a big part
Jared
in the
Leto.
film. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Like, it didn't need to be Jared Leto because it's
the Hatbox Ghost.
faces.
You can't tell Jared Leto.
No, and his voice is also really distorted. So what it felt like was that they paid for Jared's likeness in flashback photos of who the Hatbox Ghost used to be. And I was like, oh, that's a lot of money to pay somebody for, and he did the voice, but like it's modulated and like there's stuff added to it where it doesn't sound like Jared. So it's like it didn't have to be him. But I did like that
so
he
much
was
cheaper.
so important. Oh, I love Walton Goggins.
I know, right? Imagine that.
I don't know how.
I don't know that he would be a Hatbox Ghost. I think he'd be a good groundskeeper.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I don't. Now I'm like trying to picture it, and all I can picture.
If they beefed up the role of the groundskeeper and made it to a supporting or co-lead type of situation, I could see Walton Goggins. Like I can imagine Walton Goggins in old dirty clothes carrying around a shovel with a little like skinny ass dog next to him.
Right. Although,
and that's a show I want to watch on FX.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what that would have been in this movie, but yeah, maybe on a side spin-off series on Disney Plus.
I've made it very clear on the internet that I'm annoyed that Disney isn't doing FX takes on its various theme park rides, and Haunted Mansion is number one.
I mean, give it some time. You never know what's going to happen with the company and how things are going to change.
That's true. FX on Disney Plus on Hulu?
Yeah, sure.
Can't wait. Cannot wait. I mean,
I feel like American Horror Story has done some pop-up stuff that would kind of show them what they could do in that vein.
American Story, they did American Story at Halloween Horror Nights two or three different years before Disney bought the company. Universal's done incredible work with Disney's what is now considered Disney IP over the years.
Yeah.
Including Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando used to do a live Rocky Horror Picture Show performance.
Nice.
That all stopped when Disney bought Fox, of course. Yeah. I want so much media based on Haunted Mansion. I really
just on that. Yes. I just want
on
more merchandise. Mansion. I mean, sure, media.
Okay.
I raise my eyebrow at takes, but merchandise. I go on Shop Disney once a month to be like, what do you have? Anything? Because I'm not getting to the theme parks fast enough.
Well, and also I'll be honest with you, the in-park merch selection for Haunted Mansion, it's not great.
Yeah.
Like none of it's lots of Nightmare. It's almost exclusively Nightmare Before Christmas stuff year round.
Yeah.
And honestly, it speaks to a bigger issue I have with Disney overall is that when I'm at Disneyland or Disney World, I can get so many Disney characters on so many items, but I can't buy I don't want a Star Wars shirt. I want a Star Tours shirt.
Oh, I don't sell those. I think
not anymore.
Not recently. I just feel like vintage.
Yeah,
like maybe
vintage in way back in the day, they were definitely better about ride specific merchandise. But Haunted Mansion, I would say Haunted Mansion and Pirates both are perfect examples of put the ride poster on a shirt.
Sure.
Let me buy the ride poster. Let me buy little pop Funkos of because now they have pop Funkos of the paintings in the stretching room.
I didn't know that, but they definitely have the ghosts.
Yeah.
Because I got a box
Do you see this guy right above my head?
It's really small and my eyes are bad. I'm not wearing my glasses.
Okay, well it's the pop Funko of the stretching room portrait of the guy standing on dynamite.
Oh, that's cool.
It's the only Haunted Mansion thing I have. I bought it at Halloween Town in Burbank.
That's awesome. I didn't know they had the portraits, but I mean, I knew they made Madame Leota and the Hatbox Ghost, and I was like, I'm not a big Funko person because talk about not having room.
Yeah.
Where am I going to put them? When I have office space,
3 total.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to have some on my desk at work, and now I work from home, and I'm like, I could put them out on a shelf, but I don't want to have to dust them, so I don't. I want apparel, but I don't want.
Yes.
It's gonna sound really weird. I haven't liked the apparel that they've given us options to purchase.
No.
So I'm like, I want a version of it that's better. Again, I'm great at telling you what's wrong with what you made. I don't know how to fix it. I think part of it is, if I want something that's the wallpaper print, I don't want it with glow in the dark eyes. Like, what am I going to walk around with like little blobs of glow in the dark shit on me? No, thank you. I'm an adult.
I want a Haunted Mansion wallpaper tie. I think that would be the coolest thing.
No, they had that because so my last dog, Madison, who you know a lot about, viewers and listeners don't, he was a bow tie dog. And I bought him the bow tie that was Haunted Mansion wallpaper print. And then they also had like the long necktie, but I didn't buy that for him because he was not a long necktie boy. I will say I gave Natalie, our friends, Natalie and Leslie, the bow tie for their dog when Madison passed. So maybe ask them for the bow tie if Hurley doesn't want to wear it anymore.
For those who don't know, Danielle, speaking of former guests, Natalie Abrams and Leslie Goldberg, who were on for, Natalie was here for, Jesus, I forgot what Natalie was here for. Legos. We talked about Legos.
Yeah.
And Leslie was baseball cards.
Yes.
The hobby.
Obviously.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it would be great if that was like a staple that they always carried, but I know for a time they definitely had it. And I think that's the other thing too, is like, there's certain things that the parks always do. You're always going to have a version of the ears, the headband that's Haunted Mansion. They're just going to switch out what it looks like every so often. And I wish they would do that with more things. Like there's a pillow over my shoulder of the Haunted Mansion. Yeah. More stuff like that.
I would also just, honestly, guys, make more t-shirts. I know Disney makes a shocking amount of t-shirts, but like if they just let me in on if they let me in on a t-shirt meeting, I would make the company millions of dollars, because we all the theme park nerds want the same stuff. We just want stuff about the things we love, not about the IP that the things we love are based on. I have a Star Wars shirt. I bought it at Walmart. I don't need another Star Wars shirt. But if I could get a DJ Rex shirt, let's go. Let's go. There's pins, but why not shirts? Make shirts of everything. That's all.
That's true. They went so hard in on the pins, and I'm just like, I get it. And I certainly get it for people who come to the park and don't want to spend a lot of money. But what about those of us that do want to spend a bunch of money? I can't tell you how many times I went in. I'm the person, I will say this happily on this podcast. I impulse bought the Dooney and Burke Haunted Mansion bag. $300? I don't remember. Something like that. But I walked into a store on Main Street, probably while you were probably with me on that trip. And people were on a ride I wasn't willing to ride. Like, honestly, like, maybe Star Tours.
Did you get it in Disneyana?
No, I got it in this. Oh God, I don't know the name of it. It's the tiny one next to the fine jewelry store.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know the name of it. I was just like walking through the stores because people were on rides that I wasn't going on because they were scary rides, like roller coasters. And I saw it and I was like, oh my God, I need to have that. And they were like, it's the last one. And I was like, sold. And I still use it all the time. It's like a great laptop bag. It's my Disney bag because it's huge and it can hold all my stuff. Like, that's the stuff I want. I want the stuff it's subtle. If you don't, it's the wallpaper, but it's subtle enough that if I use it in my daily life and I'm not with the Disney nerd, they don't know what it is. It just looks like a pattern. Or like, I want the hoodies, buy better hoodies. I'm freezing at night and I'm not willing to carry around my own hoodie all day while I'm in the park. So I'm constantly looking to buy a hoodie. Where are my Haunted Mansion hoodies?
Yeah. Also, this is a hill I'm willing to topple. Hey, Loungefly, your backpacks are amazing. Make them in normal ass human sizes, so I, a man who has a larger back, doesn't look weird. I would buy Loungefly backpacks if they were the size of backpacks.
Yeah, I think 100%. A lot of people would.
Especially the Disney ones, because they're so cool.
I feel like, I'm not really a backpack person, but I feel like even I would probably buy one if it was a normal size, because those bags are too small for me to use most places. Even me. And like, we make jokes about like how big our purses have gotten, but part of that is because how big our phones have gotten. And I don't want to feel like my phone is taking up the majority of this bag. So I feel like a lot of people would absolutely buy that, especially like, again, you're in Disney, you're probably buying stuff. You don't want to carry around a bunch of plastic bags.
No,
you end up
I
buying a bag and filling it with other stuff.
Honestly, at this point in my life, when I go to Disney World, I travel with my backpack. Like, and my backpack's just it's just a JanSport. But it goes with me everywhere because, like, I put a bottle of water in there. I put a couple protein bars in there. I put any meds I might need to take throughout the day in there. I put my phone charger in there. Like, I put everything in there because, and some days, and Loungefly, also take note of this, I go fanny pack. If I feel like going minimal, I go fanny pack. I can fit a bottle of water, my phone, a portable battery, and a couple of protein bars, and my keys in a fanny pack. How big is
this fanny? I think the bottle of water is what's throwing me.
The fanny pack I use is the Young Rock one they sent back in the day.
It's a normal size. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a normal fanny pack. You have to get very creative at like fitting. You have to take a minute to fit everything in properly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I feel like the next time I'm going to go to Disneyland, I'm going to use they make these fanny packs for dog moms, and they're basically like slightly larger, slightly more rectangular, and they have certain sections where like, here's where the poop bags go, here's where the treats go. But I'm like, I feel like that's a good Disney one because it's big enough for a small bottle of water because your animal always needs water. Treat section, perfect. I like to bring myself treats. Like,
absolutely.
I think maybe that's what I'll try. But again, why isn't Disney just making those and selling those and being like, when you come to the, and I don't know, you can tell me because you're in Florida now. Is it different in Florida? Maybe they are selling some of this stuff because they know people have come here for a week and they realize on day one, oh, the thing I have isn't working. Let me buy something else while I'm here. I feel like when I was a kid, we used to do that all the time.
I will say it's a lot like it is in California in that there are stores in the hotels for people who are staying on property, and they have very, very, very limited stuff, and it's usually branded to the hotel, and it's very expensive. But like, I don't want a boardwalk, a Disney's boardwalk bag.
Nobody does.
I want a Haunted Mansion bag. Well, I will say I was just at Destination D23 in Orlando, and it's like the smaller version of D23 with like one speaking hall. And it was sponsored by a company that I guess has worked with Disney for a long time named Lugs. Lug? It's like a backpack company.
Okay.
They make really nice backpacks. And and evidently they're going to be releasing some Disney parks bags. I just can't tell. They have crossbody bags and backpacks, and I can't tell if they're small backpacks or big backpacks. I want them to be big.
We'll have to stay tuned because, well, you'll know before anyone. They'll send you the press release with like the preview images and stuff, and maybe a sample backpack, and you can let us know.
Look, if they send me a Figment backpack, you know Figment?
Are they making a Figment backpack, or are you just making this?
They are making a Figment backpack. It is a real thing that is happening. And we're thrilled about it, Danielle.
Yes.
We're thrilled.
No, I liked Figment when I was little. I was
his
not
ride
as into it as you, but
it's not the same ride it was when you were a child.
No,
they changed
I'm sure
the ride and it made it way worse.
Oh.
It's so bad. But it's fun.
I mean, I don't really remember it. I did have a stuffed animal version of Figment because I thought he was cute because he was like purple and whatever. But yeah, I got to get back down there. I was in Orlando. Well, this is also like 10 years ago now, but my friend had her bachelorette weekend at Universal in Orlando because she wanted to do Wizard World of Harry Potter, but we didn't go to Disney. We only went to Orlando. And I was thinking about staying an extra day and going to Disney by myself, but then I didn't because of where I was working at the time. I couldn't really take the extra day off. And I was like so bummed. I was like, I'm right here. And like, I could buy stuff in the airport Disney store, but that's not the same. And so now I'm like, well, it's been probably more than 10 years, maybe now at this point. I need to get back there. We'll see.
All right. I have one last question for you. Is Haunted Mansion the best theme park ride?
I mean,
because
go ahead. You go.
Well, okay. I was just saying, because I break, like, I have a hard time, like, for my money, if we're talking about the best theme park ride, it's going to be based on who you are and what you're looking for. For me, immersion is a big piece of it. So like, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance is not my favorite theme park ride, but I think there is an argument to be made that it is the best theme park ride because it's so over the top. But like if every theme park ride was getting wiped off the earth except for one, and you chose it, what is it? Haunted Mansion?
Probably, because for what I like, again, a lot of it is nostalgia. I mean, I agree with you. I do think immersion is important, but I also, when I look at Haunted Mansion, I don't, based on when it was built and like the system and the space and all of that, I'm like, I don't know how you could make that more immersive without moving it somewhere else into whatever, right? So like for what it is, I think it's a great version of what it is. If I was a Star, here's where the internet hates me. If I was a Star Wars fan, I would agree. And I would say that would be the better ride because I went on that. I thought it was really fun. You like interact with stuff. You get to pick a position or they put you in a position you necessarily pick, but like you are a part of it. Yeah, and I honestly didn't even get vertigo with that ride. So I was like, you know what, props to that. Because I thought that I would. I think it depends on where you sit, but I think I would still pick Haunted Mansion. I don't know. I mean, it's a hard question. I also like, this is going to sound so dumb, but I really like water. Like I used to really like water rides as a kid. It's like lazy river stuff and whatever I'm not going to remember the name of the Rapids ride, the proper name of the Rapids ride. I just call it the Rapids ride in Disney California Adventure. Like if you would ask me when I was younger,
it's Grizzly Falls.
Grizzly Falls. Okay. If you had asked me when I was younger, I would have picked that one. Now as an adult, I'm like, that water is gross. So I'm not picking that one. But I have like a little piece of me that's like, oh, but those are so fun. Like you're just like,
oh, but Danielle, I cannot wait for you to come to Florida because we're going to go to Epcot and we're going to go on all the slow boat rides and have drinks and have great food.
Slow boat rides. The Storybook ride is also a favorite ride of mine. I'm like, which one? The Storybook one in
I love the story. Okay.
I know.
Okay, before we go,
goes on it. Yeah. Nobody goes on it with me.
I want to touch on this real quick before we wrap up because I didn't ride the Storybook ride until I was in my late 30s because I don't even think I knew for sure that it was a ride. I knew that there was something that you did to go through the whale's mouth.
Yes.
But I never knew what was beyond the whale's mouth. And like, honest to God, guys, if you've been to Disneyland and you haven't ridden this, I think it's the Storybook Canal or something like that, there is a whole weird piece of Disneyland that you've never seen before because it's all hidden and only seeable on that ride. It's awesome.
And I like miniatures. So like the fact that it's all these little miniatures, I'm like, these are adorable. And I was old too when I first went on it, but I was just, I don't know. I mean, I like the slower, like not as slow as that section in Pirates, but the slower, let's actually be able to look at everything that's on this ride. Like if you're whipping me through it too fast, I'm missing so much. And I just, stood in that line for half an hour or whatever, and I can't come right back on it. I don't want to miss that much. So I don't know. I love so many rides. I also, even though it's bad, like the Little Mermaid ride, like whatever. I mean, I'm just
wait. I will not stand for this. The Little Mermaid ride is bad nonsense. That's a fun ride.
It's fun, but it misses chunks of the story. Like it just ends so quickly. And I think it's just they had no space and they did what they could. And I like that they did the old school animatronics. I was into that. I just wish that they had maybe made some sections a little smaller so that they could fit in more of the actual story.
It genuinely feels like a ride that ran out of money at a certain point, and they were like, "Oh, we got to finish this." Well, cut the Sea Witch fight. We'll put some of that. We'll put some of that on a video screen. But also, like, it almost completely deletes Ursula from the ride, except for one little tiny part. It's so weird.
What do people think that, like, if you don't know what the Little Mermaid is, what do you get out of that ride? What do you think the story is based on that ride that you've just watched? It's just some girl meeting some guy and then they get married. It's insane.
No, it's a Disney fairy tale.
Is that a fairy tale or is that just life?
No.
Because like without the Sea Witch, like we all meet someone, well, maybe not all, but a lot of people meet someone and then eventually get married or immediately get married. But I don't know. I was disappointed. I had gone to D23 and like wrote about the session that they did about building that ride in whatever, like 2009 or 2010. I was so excited for it to finally open, and then it opened, and I was like, "This? I'm so
especially because
sad."
like it opens with the seagull being like, "I'm gonna tell you a story," and then that is just abandoned at a certain point, and then you're just like, "Oh, they're married now."
What is the story? Scuttle, you dropped the ball. I don't know. Whatever. Again, I have so many ideas for what things could be. No way to execute them. Hire me anyway.
I love
Whatever.
it. Danielle, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for letting me ramble.
Honestly, I'm probably going to make you come back and talk to me about other Disney rides.
Okay. I mean,
because
I don't have.
I want, like, no, but like we could talk about pirates. I gotta do a pirates ride at some point.
We could talk about Peter Pan, because I think you're also the only person that goes on that one with me. Nobody goes on Peter Pan.
But everybody goes on Peter Pan. The line's always 45 minutes long.
No one our age.
Oh yeah, no one who we know goes on Peter Pan.
And maybe I should have said I don't have children. I just go to the park as an adult. So
I am that disgusting internet term. You know what? I don't like the term Disney adult. I feel like it encompasses a wide range of types of people, and there are some of those people I don't want to be associated with.
I get that. I don't know. I don't mind it, but whatever.
Okay. All right. So, what is there anywhere you want people to look for you? Are you referring everyone to the real Mr. Archie on Instagram? Because I feel that is a great way to go.
That is the only social media I'm currently active on, just posting reels and photos of my dog. You
don't want to miss this.
Maybe I will do some more Disney themed stuff now I've just talked about Disney for a long time. He does have a very cute Disney shirt. I am technically still on Twitter and Instagram, or X and Instagram, as Danielle TBD. I just don't really use it anymore. And then, I do social for work part-time, but I don't think I should be referring people to random client. They might not be interested. They're like, that's not Disney. Bye-bye. So yeah, I don't know.
We've been getting emails that our social person won't shut up about the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on?
So I don't know. I don't.
Customers do not like it.
And I was going to say, and I don't work for Disney, so it's not going to help them at all.
No.
Yeah, no. I would say the dog Instagram. If you like dogs, he's active.
Archie is a beautiful puppy dog, and following him on Instagram is very fun for me personally. So I highly recommend it.
Appreciate it.
We'll be back next week. Honestly, I don't know what the topic is yet, because I should be more planned ahead than this, but I'm not. As always, like and subscribe, add a review. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, reviews and rankings, and that all goes a very long way in making us show up in the algorithm. And the same goes for YouTube. The podcast is available every single week now on YouTube, full video. Last season, it was literally like the people I was recording it with, they would just put like a blank screen with the logo up and just run the audio underneath it. That's gone. What you see is us doing the pod. So check that out and hit like and all the things. At Big Kid Pod across the space. I'm at Chris Hayner. Danielle, thank you again. And we'll do it again soon.
Thank you.